Real people, real stories, real in life. The Relentless Project. And now, your host, the man on a mission to ignite your inner fire, Ish Lopez. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be inspired.
There you go. Crack that, baby.
Get started.
Yeah. How do you like that beer, by the way?
Pour slowly. Drink fast.
Is that what it says? That's
no,
fun.
the drink fast part is me.
Fun.
No, I like it. It's good. It's really good.
What's your normal, like, if you were having a party, you had to supply your own beer, what would you bring yourself? You're going to say, like, Modelo or...
No, this is... Why Modelo?
Because you love UFC, bro. They sponsor the UFC.
No. Sorry, I'm battling. Well, I finished a... No, this is going to get me canceled immediately. High noons. High noons or tequila?
No carb. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I do.
That's fair.
Well,
That's fair.
low carb. Why? Because, well, you just saw what I devoured here.
Yeah.
And I'm
got to balance it out
bro.
somewhere.
I'm
Yeah.
struggling.
Same.
So, thank you for jumping on the podcast. It's actually going to be the last one of the season. People don't know that yet, but they know now. And what better place to do it than in Monroeville at Big Rick's Barbecue, which you set up for me. I appreciate that.
Sure, dude. Absolutely.
So we're here. Josh gave us his place to just do as we want with it. We had, I had pulled pork and mac and cheese, a pulled pork sandwich with mac and cheese, and oh, man, I'm struggling. It was so good. I inhaled it. You had the
Burger of the week, which this week was a peanut butter and jelly burger, which is just unbelievable.
I've never had a PB&J burger, but
Dude.
I just saw like the sauces oozing out.
Yeah. So it had like a creamy peanut butter sauce, and the jelly wasn't just like Smucker's jelly. It was jalapeno raspberry jelly.
Oh.
So it was like a pepper relish almost.
Dude, it looked fire.
And maple candied bacon. Dude.
And the fries even look. I'm a big fry guy. Like, they got to look good first and then taste, texture, all that stuff. I'm not a foodie, but like, I am. And, you know, you don't peel your potatoes and you just, that's the best with the skin.
Give me a little
on.
skin. Yeah, absolutely.
Fire,
absolutely.
dude. Fire.
Josh does it right, dude. Big Rigs does it right. That's why I recommend it. I knew, Josh is super gracious. He's the man. I knew he would have no problem with us doing it. But secondly, I know you like food, and I was like, let me enlighten your life here a little bit.
Well, you weren't wrong, man. And when I was on your podcast, you guys' podcast, you guys kind of gave me this like idea of the hidden gems thing of you guys, of what you guys used to do, which is an amazing idea. You just set up shop somewhere, kind of like a cross promotion kind of thing. And
right.
So I hit you up and you're like, let's go to this place. And I'm like, well, maybe this will be a teaser into what you guys see next season.
Let's go.
We'll see. So I'm here with Hunter with 247. Fighting Championships, Fighting Promotions, live. You guys have 100 names.
All kinds of stuff.
I appreciate you for jumping on. I think it's only fair we ended with a big bang since you guys have a big fight coming up on the 16th.
Yes, sir. You're the man for that, dude. I appreciate it. I didn't even connect those dots until today. We were eating and talking. You were like, yeah, we're in Monroeville. Fight's here in Monroe. I'm like, oh, yeah. Dang, right down the road.
Man. I try. You know, I'm not the smartest guy.
Smarter than most. Smarter than most, brother.
No, it's cool, man. I mean, the fights are going to be happening like, what?
5
minutes from here.
That, yeah.
So we'll get into that a little later. I want to end the show with not fight predictions, but like kind of what you expect to see from it as a whole.
Yeah.
But before that, let's back it up and get to know who Hunter is. Man, I did some research. You did research on me. I did research on you. You did journalism for what the Pittsburgh team, Steelers, Pirates. You know, you commentated, wrote for Flow Grappling, UFC, all kinds of stuff. How did you get to where you're at now? Let's start with what'd you go to school for? West Virginia, right?
West Virginia. Yeah, look at his research. This man's on the case.
It's not the research; it's the remembering. That's the hard part. West
and he's
Virginia.
A cop. He's got all these tools that I don't even want to know what else you found about me.
No, that stuff I can't disclose.
So yeah, dude, I went to West Virginia. Originally, this is kind of fun. So backing it up a second before college. So like high school, I did really well. Had really good grades, great SATs, tested well and everything. So I was the typical cocky high school kid that thought I just do whatever I want in my life because I'm awesome.
That tends to be the theme with everyone I talk to. Like high school was like, it was a breeze. I just did it.
Yeah, man. It's different too. Where I grew up was a super small town. So it was definitely like different than growing up in Pittsburgh where your class is 600 plus or something like that. Like that was our entire school. My class was like 69 kids graduated together.
Good number.
It was a very nice number to graduate with. So my sister went to WVU. She's a couple years older than me, and she was going to med school. So I was like, well, if Cody can do it, my sister, Cody, if Cody can do it, I can do that. I'll go to med school too. Because why not? I had literally zero idea what I wanted to do with my life, by the way.
Jumped into like
I just loved playing guitar and playing basketball, and I wasn't good enough to play D1 at WVU, but guitar, like I kept that through college.
You're nice
for
at
sure.
guitar too.
Thanks,
I've
man.
seen your Instagram videos. Like you make it look so like
I appreciate that, bro.
You hear like but your fingers are just like
casual.
Yeah, I never understand that.
It's nuts, dude. So music was like, and still is one of my main passions. Like you said, still playing guitar. The crappy part about that is that I used to be way better than I am now, man. Like it's a building block. Like I'm getting back.
Is it a perishable skill?
For sure. For sure.
That makes sense.
For
like,
sure.
I don't understand how people can read music. Mm-hmm. Like people be like, "Oh, you speak Spanish?" Yeah. How do you read music? Mm-hmm. It's symbols.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
that's
eighth note, quarter note. At this line, it's like, I tried. In chorus, they tried to teach us.
For sure.
Just drooled because.
Same. So I can't read music or anything. I play mostly by ear or tabs. It's called for guitar, which
that's
is like
even crazier.
Yeah. Yeah. You could teach. So that's the beauty of it. Like a young mind is so elastic, man. And like if you get in early, I started playing when I was probably 13 or 14. If I would start playing guitar right now when I'm 32, it would be a struggle. Like it's tough to learn a brand new skill when you have an adult brain.
So it's too late.
It's not too late. It's not too late. But if you want to be like a virtuoso, like you see these kids that are crazy when they're 11 or 12, they started when they were 3, like guaranteed.
That's true.
Yeah.
The young mind is like a sponge.
Insane.
It just soaks.
Insane, yeah.
So that music and basketball.
Music and basketball in high school, and neither of those was a viable career path for me. So I was like, doctor, obviously. Not just doctor.
Makes sense.
Brain surgeon, bro.
Why not?
Why not?
If you're going to be a doctor, just...
What's the coolest thing? I'm like, I got a full ride to WVU. I'll just do the coolest thing you got. What's that? Brain surgery, right? That's what everybody wants to do. So I got a couple years in and got to organic chemistry. And that was the first time in my life that I couldn't take a test without studying. And when I had to really buckle down and study and try, I was like, I don't like chemistry.
Dude, that's crazy.
That was it.
You just jumped into one of the hardest fields, I would say.
Yeah. So I got to that. That was my roadblock. For me, it was organic chemistry. And that was like the moment that, like, you always hear a fighter, like they need to dig deep, like they're getting tested. They just got knocked down. They just almost got submitted. Like, how are you going to respond to that? When I hit organic chemistry, my response was, wow, I hate chemistry. I need to do something that I actually care about. And I loved music and I loved writing my entire life. So journalism, I started working for the school's newspaper at WVU for their arts and entertainment section. So I was like covering music and shows happening at WVU.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I got in that. Like, it was like a real newsroom environment too, man. The Daily Athenaeum, it's called there, the DA. They have a really nice newsroom. Like, for a young journalist, it was a cool place to be because it was really like a shrunken down New York Times, like whatever. Like, it was that
Yeah, like
feel.
printing, like, was it like printing presses?
Yeah,
and
literally
like
downstairs was the
stuff?
printing press. Like, dude, it was really cool.
Dude,
It was,
that's crazy.
It was
like
just
when I went to Penn State, theirs was like
mm-hmm.
two. Like, and they had one in a library, and they also launched a. I have ADHD, so I go everywhere.
Oh, you're good, bro.
They launched a music production class, so they had like all Macs, all mixers, all sound. I'm like, dude, and at this time, so a lot of people don't know this. I used to like mess around with music production.
Let's go.
I used to use Mixcraft.
I could see this.
I don't know.
I could see
Mixcraft,
this.
Pro
DJ our next
Tools.
event.
Dude, oh well, it's been a while, but I remember when they launched this, I was like, this is so cool. So like, it's cool that colleges are able to like cultivate these little environments that help you. Yeah, and that's for some stuff, right? Like, like brain surgery. They don't have a surgery room for you to mess with, you know. But
I didn't get that far.
Cool.
At least they might. I don't know.
Hey, who knows? But like with Penn State, especially at Barron, they launched this like co-op building where like engineers and companies were together. So like your third year, you were taking classes, but you were working with these companies.
Right.
So you had like real world experience.
Super cool.
So it's cool that WVU had that like environment for journalism.
Absolutely, man. It was super clutch, and definitely would not be where I am today without that experience, because that really cemented me and made me realize, okay, this is a viable career path, like journalism. And especially, it's crazy that I'm this old now, but like I graduated in 2013. Like the online digital world wasn't quite what it is today. Like it was very different then. I was kind of getting in on the ground floor of understanding like SEO, for instance. Like that was huge with publishing at the time, was like page views were all that mattered. And if you knew how to tweak a headline right and get the right keywords in your story, bro, like you could blow that thing up. And I got really good at that really fast. And I was like an early adopter, so to speak, of these ideas. And it served me so well with getting jobs. Like I worked for Bleacher Report while I was still in college. And Bleacher Report was a big deal. It still is.
It still is.
Yeah, it still is. But it's way different. It was a little more editorial back then. Like we had featured columnists, so to speak. Like that's what I was, a featured columnist. And I had to go through like a test, basically. They were like, do a couple sample articles, we'll grade you, and then like you get a mentor if you do well, or you can skip like right to being a featured columnist. So like
by sample articles, you had to like actually write
like cover the
article.
UFC. Yeah, it was UFC at the time. So, like, I was obsessed with MMA just as a sport. Loved it, loved watching it. I love sports my whole life, but, like, Steelers and UFC were the two that really just captured my brain fully. So, I was on Bleacher Report MMA constantly, reading articles and news.
That's sweet. Well, that makes sense as to your position now.
For sure. And there was just a little widget that was like, are you interested in writing for us? Like, apply today. I was like, hell yeah. Like I said, cocky kid, didn't know any better. Like, I was super unqualified.
That cockiness, look what it got you, though. Like, it's not cockiness. It's like,
you got to bet on yourself sometimes, man. That's what it's all about.
If you don't bet on yourself, you're already losing.
Exactly.
Like, think of two fighters.
Mm-hmm.
If you go in there, this dude is obviously, or this chick is out to whoop your ass. If you go in there thinking he or she is going to whoop my ass, it is now 2-on-1.
You lost. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's 2-on-1.
For sure, man.
Think about it like that. But
It's
if you go
facts.
in there like, I'm going to whoop your ass, well, now we may have an even bout. You know?
Exactly.
So always bet on yourself.
For sure, dude. And it was like listening to Warren's episode with you, which we were talking about a little bit off camera, like obviously a much smaller scale for my example, but he embodied that to me too. And especially listening to that podcast, because we were talking, he's just like, just infiltrates with the Danaher clan and like works his way up, gets his black belt through, like, wait.
There's so many
It
things.
doesn't make sense.
I wanted to dig so deep, man.
know.
I'm just like, how?
How does that just happen?
How does Renzo ask you to teach him a double leg?
Right. It's crazy, man.
There's a lot of
What a
steps.
path.
Yeah.
A crazy path, but like that's life, man. Like when opportunities will present themselves, and like you can either try it or not. Like I guarantee you a lot of people, my peers in college, for instance, could have done that too, but they just didn't try, or a lot of them did. I'm not going to act like I'm the most successful kid out of my college class or anything. But
what is success?
Yeah,
too?
exactly.
I always ask that. What is success? You're doing what you love and you're getting paid to do it. Success.
Pretty successful, yeah.
Success.
Feels good.
That's cool. So you were doing this stuff for UFC with Bleacher Report. How did you get into, that's MMA.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get into the flow grappling and the grappling aspect of it? Was it just like a continuation of, it was like a moving on sort of thing, or that door closed, so you found something else? Like,
yeah. So Bleacher Report went from Bleacher Report to MMAfighting.com, which a lot of people know at the time, man. This was like very crucial for me at the time. So I went from Bleacher Report to MMA Fighting, and their team at the time was like, if you follow MMA journalism at all, Ariel Helwani, Luke Thomas, Chuck Mindenhall, like we're all part of that team at the time. So I got to work directly side by side with those guys who were like the best of the best.
how was that?
Insane, dude. It was beautiful.
What's one thing you can take? You say like is there something concrete you can take away that you learn from them?
For
Obviously,
sure. Yeah.
just being surrounded by that, you
It's
learn
big
so much.
in general. Yeah, the networking stuff, like all that's kind of like fringe benefits of such an engagement. But I would say like learning from each of them, this is not necessarily concrete, but seeing how distinct each of their styles was. Like each of them carved such a spot for themselves. Like Chuck Mindenhall, very high level writer, insane, like could write novels, like as good as any writer, not even just talking about MMA, any writer, period. He's as good as anybody. Really cared about people, told the stories well, could dig into his one story that was like super famous, In Search of Strange Brew. It's a fighter that like everybody forgot about. Nobody knows about this guy. He was a forgotten like cast off from the early Ultimate Fighter, and he wrote the most interesting story that everybody was just stuck on this story. Like, dude, how good is this? And it's a guy that otherwise you would not care about. Like, no offense, but
That's cool.
that's the
though.
beauty of it. Like, if you could do that. So that's like we talked on our podcast, on the 247 podcast, how I just always cared about people and like the human interest stories. That like Chuck heightened that for me for sure. And then my mentor at the time, like at Bleacher Report, his name was Dwayne Finley, and he was extremely similar. So all credit to those two for like shaping me into caring about those kind of
No, that's
stories.
awesome that came full circle, because I wanted to talk about that, like your drive for people's stories,
Mm-hmm.
because I share that. Like we talked about on 247. It's like, where does that come from?
Yeah.
Like we can find places where like, man, this influenced it, this influenced. Like,
Yep.
where the heck does that come from? And why don't more people embody that? Like,
don't
imagine if
know.
everyone genuinely wanted to learn about people.
I know. It would be a different world,
People
man.
would stop being assholes.
Exactly.
Like you'd be like, oh, that dude has a story. He's a cool dude.
Yep.
Does bad things, but he's a cool dude.
Yep.
He's a good guy at heart. Or good girl at heart. Like, I think everyone deserves a chance.
Yeah, man, I think humans are just super drawn to black and whites. Like, our brains want a very black and white answer to almost everything, and humans are inherently gray, and that confuses us.
Well, I think that's where a lot of that fear and anxiety kicks in. Like, we want black and white, but nothing is that, what, bipolar? That's not. Nothing is that polar opposite. You know what I mean? Like,
for
there's
sure.
so much gray in everything. Like,
Yep.
in a jiu-jitsu match, A versus B, A wins. Is he better?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Yep.
No. Is he a
Yep.
better person? Not necessarily.
Yep.
Like,
I mean, you see it in MMA. It's like everybody says MMA math doesn't work. That's perfect. Fighter A beats fighter B. Fighter B beats fighter C. That doesn't mean fighter A can beat fighter C. In fact, that might be a terrible matchup for fighter A.
that's true.
Nothing works that way, man.
That's true. What is while working with the Bleacher Report, what was one of your like memorable interviews or stories you've done?
For sure, dude. This is like the first one that popped in my head right away, so I got to go with it. It must be the right answer. When Dwayne Finley, my mentor I was talking to you about a second ago, he took me on a road trip, and it was like crazy idea at the time. I was like a brand new writer, just kind of getting my feet wet in the industry, making a name for myself a little bit. He was like, let's go visit a bunch of gyms on the East Coast. Like, we'll start in Boston, work our way down to like New Jersey, go camping with the Miller brothers, Jim Miller, Dan Miller, and their dad. And I'm just like, what? Like, is this a real offer that you're extending to me right now? Because this sounds really cool. And it was incredible, man. But like camping with the Miller brothers, and at the time I was working for Bleacher Report and Fight Magazine, which is a very old-fashioned sentence, but like literally Fight Magazine was sold in like Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to be like, I wrote a story off that road trip, and I could tell like my family and friends, like, dude, go buy the magazine at Barnes & Noble. Like, I'm in there. It was cool.
That's crazy. How long was that trip?
The trip?
Like, I mean, visiting
Maybe a week or
gyms.
two. Yeah, a week or two, I would say.
How many gyms do you think you hit during that time?
So we did like 2 or 3 different road trips. So the very first one, I think, was probably 4 gyms. I think we saw Matt Serra, Joe Lozon, Miller Brothers. It may have just been those 3. Longo Weidman, too. So those 4. Yeah.
Dude, traveling is sweet. And if you can work while you travel,
It's the best.
it's like I get kind of like, I don't want to say jealous, because I'm
Yeah.
not a jealous guy, but
Yeah.
you see these influencers that get paid to
Oh, for sure.
go to
For
a
sure.
hotel and just
Yeah.
post about it. You're like, dude, that's your job. That's sweet to me.
I think saying you're jealous of that's fine.
Yeah,
Everybody's
like you're
jealous
sweet
of that. Yeah.
like you see him on a beach, post a picture, $1,000.
Nuts.
I want that
I want
job.
that.
I mean,
Pay me to
it
take
wouldn't be as
pictures
cool
of
as them, but
Nah.
it'd be a picture of 230 pounds on a palm tree. But what? So then you were doing like fighting journalism. How did you get to like sports journalism? I mean, fighting is sports, but like those are very different styles, I would say.
Definitely. Yeah. So the whole time in college, when I was writing for Bleacher Report, I was also working for a company called Idea House. And it was a guy from Pittsburgh, Kevin Popovich. He's the man. Shout out KP.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Because everybody knows KP. Everybody knows and loves KP, man. You just
We'll
know
have to
him.
Google him
Even if
now.
you don't know him, you know him.
If you don't know, now you know.
You know.
We'll leave it at that.
He's the man. So he ran called it a creative communications boutique. And it was essentially, like I said, early days of like SEO and web publishing and optimization for web, like all these things that are now
All the
everybody knows how to do.
buzzwords,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So he was a creative communications digital marketing agency essentially. So I was doing that concurrently with Bleacher Report and everything. So I was building up this kind of marketing, online, digital background at the same time that I was working on my craft with writing and journalism. And that created the 1-2 that was like very appealing to any employer, honestly, in the space. So locally, an organization opened up, wanted a writer, like was hiring for Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, Pitt basketball. Like I said, I grew up a massive Steelers fan, dude. Like Steelers in my family.
Sorry to hear that. No, I'm kidding.
I'm kidding. It's a religion, man. As you know, I'm sure you've met some hardcore Steelers. Everyone around here, yeah.
I've never met a lukewarm Steeler fan.
Right. That's very true.
Maybe me. I don't like them. I'm a Falcons fan. But
that's fine. See, I got no beef with the Falcons. No threat.
I like the Steelers. I went to my first game. It was the Jaguars.
Nice.
And they didn't play Renegade, and everyone was like, I was like, oh, is that a big thing here? They're like, what? I'm like, I heard about it. I didn't know. I know it's a huge thing.
Hot take, but Renegade's super overrated. I'll say it. I'll say it. Super overrated, bro.
I mean, I didn't experience it, so I don't know.
It doesn't hype me up, but if it hypes the players up, by all means.
My buddy walks out to that on his fights.
Nice.
Wears black and gold. Like, he's that Steelers fan. Like, dude, whatever.
I mean, he's an undefeated pro boxer. I'm not going to say. Renegade's awesome. What I meant to say, it's the best song I've ever heard.
He's going to listen to this and be like, I need to fight on that card. Yeah.
set
he wants to get into MMA. So maybe
I know a place.
Maybe we'll get him an AMI fight here. He
like
does jiu-jitsu too.
If he's a pro boxer, he'd have to be pro.
He has to go pro, yeah.
He
was telling. I didn't know that. He was telling me that, and I was like, oh, you just jump into AMI. He's like, no, because I'm pro. I have to be pro. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, you about to jump in with the wolves?
Got to do it. Get that takedown defense going. His hands will be better than anybody's,
like
pretty much.
6'4", so
nice.
I think he's fine.
Nice. He'll be all right.
But
yeah, let's do it.
So you started working with this company that covered the sports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just had an opening, and I just took, like I said, opportunities, kind of presenting, man. So at Flow, MMA fighting, kind of got caught up there for a second. I worked for MMA fighting, and then went to Flow Combat, which was part of the Flow Sports, Flow Grappling, Flow Wrestling umbrella. Flow Combat was like their brand. It was brand new at the time. They never covered MMA before. Flow Grappling and Wrestling were already humming along, doing pretty well, and they were like, if we try MMA as well, and it was Flow Combat.
Get into the space.
So Dwayne, my mentor, me and him were the first ones in at Flow Combat, along with Jeremy Botter, and like ran it from the beginning until 2018, I think, is when I quit Flow Combat.
Oh, so they started it, and you were like already, like you were the spirit.
Yeah, like we were the first ones in. Yeah,
dude, that's sweet.
It was cool, man. And that was like, when I think about my career as a journalist, so to speak, like the vast majority of memories and good times are Flow Combat related. Like that was really special to be a part of, man. Like something starting from the bottom and just climbing up. Like we got nominated for awards by the end. Like we were part of the core group by the end, and it was like, dude, we built that. Like we did that.
That is sweet. Like, and that's the stuff I like to hear about. Like when I was talking with Warren, like, do you ever just sit back and realize like what you've built, like what has come from all the little decisions you've made?
Right.
Like look at where you're at now.
At the time, no. Yeah. At the time,
at the time,
wasn't stopping to reflect.
You're living it, and then now like. How was that? How was sitting back? Like,
it's cool, man. It really is. And I like, if you go to YouTube right now, you can search Flow Combat. It's sad because like with the pandemic and everything, killed so much. You can tell that they just quit caring about it. Like Flow Combat kind of died in the meantime. But there was a period of time from like 2016 to 19 where it was a big player. And if you go to YouTube, like this is one you were asking, like a favorite memory from Bleacher Report. This is one that's fun to look back on. Colby Covington, like everybody knows and loves. So one of our other road trips was down to Florida. So we went to like ATT and what's it called now? Kill Cliff FC, but at the time it was a different name. Just all those Florida fighters, we mingled with them, hung out, like did a ton of interviews, so many interviews, dude. But there is an interview if you go to YouTube right now and just type in like Flow Combat Colby Covington. I bet it is probably the first one. It was Colby's transition from boring guy that nobody cares about to insane heel. And like Dwayne and I, nobody knew that like he was making this transition personality-wise. So we're like, we'll interview Colby Covington. He's pretty good. He's in the UFC. He's here. He wants to talk. Let's do it. Weren't super excited about it. He wasn't like, wasn't a big name at the time or anything. Still cool. And he just started spitting fire, dude. And we were like, like where's marker? Like where's this coming from? And but afterwards, like he explained, like, but on camera, dude, dead serious. Like on camera, we just like kept going with it. We're like, this is happening. Like he's doing this. He
Yeah,
wasn't laughing.
No heads up, no nothing.
He wasn't laughing. We didn't know. We didn't expect it. It was just like serious the whole time. So like that video, like the Colby Covington origin story, is on Flow Combat's YouTube.
That is, dude, that is crazy. You meet people like I got a buddy who like lives life as if like there is no tomorrow. He just like no care. Like
got to.
And dude does like side gigs because he can.
Yeah.
Doesn't have responsibilities. But when you hang out with him, there's the time of your life.
I love
like
that.
he's the type of dude, he'll go up to a stranger and be like, "Oh, hey, how you doing, Diane?" And they're like, I'm fine. I'm not dying. Oh no, I remember you from, and he'll have a full conversation just for fun with a random person with a fake name, create it like, and I'm just like, dude, this, and I'm like trying not to laugh because then they know, and then he'll leave dead serious.
Dude, that's
like, oh,
awesome.
dude, she was awesome, and I'm like, what the
did
fuck
you just
was
do?
that? I was like, oh, I don't know, like, I'm
That's
like, what
next
possessed
level.
you to do something like that?
That's next level.
But like, he's just like that type of dude, and like he'll
That's
like,
so good.
He'll like pretend to be angry. Like,
Just to do
like,
it.
what the fuck? And
Just
I'm
to
like,
see how
dude, you
people
good? He's
react.
like, no, I'm good. I'm just kidding. I'm like, dude, it gets your emotions so like crazy. Like, especially in the fight world, people create these personas like
For sure.
because it's become a thing with social media now. It's become like a marketing ploy.
Yep.
You know, I got to market this person I am. You know, and it's like, it's cool, but then it's like it's not cool because you have someone like Masvidal, who he is on camera is who he is off camera. Then you have other people who create this ploy, and then they try to like come at someone like Masvidal, and he's like,
You
what
find
are you
out.
doing? Yeah,
You
well,
find
like, what are
out.
you doing?
Yep.
Like this. I don't do social media stuff.
Yep.
And then you have encounters that happen in the real world.
Yeah. So at the time, this is kind of fun. At the time, Masvidal and Covington were still bros because we interviewed both of them on that trip at ATT. Like they were both there, both friendly. Like it's
You
weird to
interviewed
see
George,
that change.
huh?
Yeah, George.
George.
Dude, we said. I asked him. I was like, "Do you prefer like is it Jorge or George?" Because I've heard people say both. He's like, "You're white, say George." I was like, "All right." I was like, "Yeah,
What? Okay.
fair, dude, fair."
Jorge. Now I'm gonna call you Jorge.
0% chance after he said that. George.
I couldn't even take that serious.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, dude.
but you're not white.
He was the man. He was the man, dude.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Never met him, but when he fought in Miami, I was actually in Miami.
Nice.
And I was trying to get last minute tickets, dude. And I couldn't. So we ended up going to, it's like a big nightclub over there. And there's no online betting in Miami, by the way.
interesting.
In Florida, I think.
It's illegal in Florida.
illegal.
Of all places, you would think.
So check this
Dang.
out. I got a bookie.
Yeah.
I had a bookie. I lost money. But it was cool. Like,
That's a cool
It would have been
experience.
cool to see, like, dude, they were like right down the street too, man. Like UFC in Miami.
Nice.
Jorge ended up being his last fight.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that would have been crazy, but you know, some doors just don't open.
What fight was that?
That
Burn? Did he
was
fight Burn? Who what? Dude,
It was his
I'm
last
so out
fight.
of touch with
It
the
was
UFC.
his last fight.
Yeah.
what?
I'm very out of touch with the UFC.
But you used
Real
to
facts.
You used to be UFC journalist.
247 took over, man. I don't
Hey,
have time to focus on
Don't
both.
you forget it. What was so like that transition to sports? What's the
yeah.
difference of writing styles? Is there a difference, or do you cover it the same?
For the most part, you cover it the same, I think, honestly. I mean, your journal, like, it's really more about fundamental journalism background. Like, a lot of people in media don't have a journalism degree. And it's something, I'm not crazy proud about it. Like, my college was what it was. I didn't take college seriously at all. I was just like, this is a means to my next step kind of deal. But, like, working at the school's newspaper was something that I took pride in. Like, that was one part of college. I was like, hey, I like this. Like, let's do this the right way. So I always knew, like, the right way to interview and conduct yourself as a member of the media. We were talking, dude, your ringer was like slow motion.
It was.
It was like a slower beat than usual. But like we were talking before when I was covering the Steelers, and I'm like I said,
Sorry, this is my logo. I keep talking.
oh, shout out, Mini-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
We were talking
That's
like,
what on the podcast.
yeah, off camera. Like I was a big Steelers fan, covering the Steelers, which is a big no-no in the world of journalism. Not necessarily that you can't be a fan, but that you can't let that fandom bleed through. Like,
Is it because it's like a bias thing?
Absolutely. Yep. You can't show bias when it comes to that. So, that's that. Sorry, I don't want to pause this, but I think it stopped recording.
We'll hope the background goes right.
Oh, dude, this is fun. Let it go.
Is it?
Let it go. I mean, you got a card in there, right? Look on the screen. See if it tells you how much recording time is left. It's like in the top right, I think. There should be like a little picture of a card.
30, 12.
You should be good.
12 plus hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 plus hours.
We got all day.
Man, good
baby.
thing I got the backup, huh?
Dang. So that's like, is your disk full on your laptop? Is that what it said? Oh, maybe not. What do we got? Oh, we're
So
back.
it was slow,
We're
but
back.
we'll go.
Okay, whatever.
We'll use the.
That's hilarious.
It's always something on this thing.
That's-
You want to start a podcast?
No, you don't. You don't want to. That's my thing. Like, I love my MacBook Pro, but the hard drive's so small and it just constantly fills up.
Yeah,
I hate
you need
Yeah.
that. You guys have the studio, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna drop on that one day.
You should.
Maybe
You
in
definitely
January.
should. That thing's so sick. But yeah, so about bias in sports, that is what it is. Like in journalism, being biased is like the #1 no-no. And I just saw a recent story of this kid, worked his way up, became friends, like buddies with Tyreek Hill a little bit. I don't know if you saw this, but he was like Tyreek's personal photographer at one point, and then the NFL hired him, and he was shooting on the side in the end zone during an NFL game, wearing an NFL badge and vest, like working for the NFL, not the Dolphins. Or Tyreek. Like, that's important. He's working for the NFL. And Tyreek scored, saw him, like, that's my boy, took his phone and did a backflip with the kid's phone, like, filming. So, like, Tyreek took his phone, filmed
Well,
himself.
that's sweet.
It was badass. Like, it's an awesome moment. But the kid reacted and, like, started cheering and jumping up and down and, like, got real excited about that moment, which, very human reaction.
Yeah, that's a
very
normal
human
reaction.
It was awesome for the kid, I'm sure. NFL, like, suspended him immediately, like, fired him, took his credentials. He's not allowed back. And, like, I totally see both sides of the coin on this. It doesn't hurt anybody. That's the no fun league, like they say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But from a traditional journalism background, that gets anybody fired in any line of work. Like, if I would have at any point cheered for the Steelers in the press box, I would have been fired.
When you were working for
DK Pittsburgh Sports. Yeah.
Pittsburgh Sports,
Yeah.
you would get fired for cheering for a Pittsburgh
Absolutely.
team. I don't get
100%.
that. But like, especially that scenario, that incident you're talking about. I'm sure he would have been excited if anybody did
Right,
that. You know what I mean?
right,
That's like
yeah.
that's not a bias thing. Like,
Right.
it's like being excited for your job.
Yeah.
Now, if someone did that and you're like,
That's
piss
a weird
off,
reaction.
mate, or
Yeah.
whatever, like, okay, bias, bias is shown, but you being excited about something.
Right. I know.
But I guess I kind of.
From the NFL's perspective,
I see it.
Yeah, like if you don't know the full backstory that they know each other and they're like buddies and stuff, it looked like somebody wearing an NFL vest was cheering for the Dolphins. So the NFL is showing favoritism to the Dolphins, right? That's a really
it's a
bad look.
stretch,
Really
but
bad
yeah.
look. As much money as invested in betting and everything nowadays, that's a terrible look that anything could possibly be favored. So it's that idea in journalism.
So what did they
throughout.
do about the refs? Yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
Bro, that Jaguars game,
The Steelers game?
the Steelers Jaguars game, I forget who. I suck with names. One of our corners or safeties, one of the Steelers corners or safeties, literally dove over the dude and hit the ball. Never made contact with the dude.
Pass
Flag.
interference? Yeah.
And we're looking at the replay. We're like, look at what?
I know.
Pickens throws the ball. It's out of his hand. Gets blasted.
Oh, yeah, they called nothing.
Nothing. The other quarterback, mid-throw, gets hit.
That one was brutal.
Rough. I'm like,
That one was
this can't
brutal.
be real.
I remember that
This
sequence.
can't be real.
I went full Yinzer on that sequence for sure.
You're going to tell me there's no bias in the no fun league?
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. But yeah, that was fun, dude. It was a really cool experience. For a Steelers fan growing up, like the opportunity to be in that locker room, talk to Coach
So you were
Tomlin.
like immersed with the
Yeah,
players and
for
stuff
sure,
like
man.
that.
Yeah, it was a really cool
Dude,
experience.
that's sweet.
dude.
And how
Like,
were the players like?
super cool for the most part, of course. Dude,
Well,
you go to
yeah.
any profession, you talk to 100 people, like there's going to be an asshole or two.
Well, yeah. And then not only that, they're getting interviewed by multiple people, multiple outlets.
I love that you said that because that's something that I always told other like when we would just talk among ourselves, people would be like, wow, could you, like, he was so snippy today. I'm like, dude, we've asked him that in different forums for the past week, every day. He's been answering the same question every day.
Yeah, it's kind of like
it would suck.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like it's kind of like with cops, right? Like every time we go somewhere, what do you get? Didn't do it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
right.
I'm just trying to get a sandwich. That's
Just
it.
give me some pulled pork.
Yeah, some pulled pork from Big Rick. There's this
King of the Grill.
big King of the Grill.
That's a
Big
nice.
Rigs.
It's a nice
I
song.
got to enunciate because like
It was
my
nice.
2 languages. People think I'm saying Ricky, not Ricky.
Big Rickies.
It's like a big rig.
Big Rick. That was good. That was like me saying George.
Yeah, well, like I like my words all like intertwined together because in Spanish everything's like
Sure.
just flows.
So this is fun fact for you. When I was in college, my minor's in Spanish.
No te hablo español.
It's not good.
Okay.
Solo un poco.
Un poco.
Yeah.
Muy bueno.
Muy buen. Yes.
Muy bueno.
I thought you said muy buen. See, that's how bad it is.
Very good. Very good.
So that was we did have classes in all Spanish, but again, a perishable skill.
Have you ever did a story in Spanish?
Yeah.
You did.
I have. Yeah. They exist somewhere.
What was it on?
UFC, very early times.
Oh, so
it was like a test.
It was a very niche story.
for
at
sure. It was terrible. I had to have like a fluent Spanish speaker edit it for me.
That. Did you
It was
like?
bad.
Did you use translating apps or anything?
Of course. Yeah.
And then you had someone
Exactly,
look it over.
yeah.
Dude, because that ain't the same.
Oh no, the apps are only so good.
Dude, they get you there.
Yeah.
But
It's
Bro,
it's like I get what you're trying to say, but that's not very good.
I've actually used them to see like how accurate it is,
right.
and I'm like, man, you don't want to say this to the wrong person.
Yeah.
Like for example, pinche. Puerto Ricans say pinche it's like a hair tie,
Okay.
like a little rubber hair
Sure.
tie. In Mexico, that's almost a slur.
I was gonna say I thought that was a slur. I've heard it as
it's
a
like
slur.
calling someone like
Yeah.
a motherfucker. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
So like you go to Puerto Rico, like, hey, do you have a pinche? I'm like, oh no, I don't have one. You go to
Is it
Mexico,
yeah.
you have a pinche? I'm
Might
like,
get stabbed.
you're a pinche. You're like,
I'm a hair tie?
I'm a hair tie, dude. What? Don't be weird.
It
You
is
flirting with me?
Weird regional dialects, man.
But
We have
it-
it too. Yeah.
It's
Obviously.
crazy.
Everybody's
It's
got it.
in English too. I mean, there's certain words that we'll say.
For sure.
So, all that. How did you get to 247?
Nice. So towards the end of
First of all,
Yeah.
what is 247? For those who don't know,
the promotion itself,
what is
we're a
yeah.
regional fight promotion right here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you guys like the UFC, we're doing UFC stuff on a very small scale. That's the easiest way for me to explain it. We have MMA events, grappling super fights. Might be adding more sports in the future. Who knows?
Oh,
But right now, MMA and grappling super fights.
are we allowed to talk about the expansion
Of
project?
course. Yeah, we can talk. I mean, we're working on a new venue.
Hypothetically,
Yeah, we've talked about the new venue publicly before, so I'm super comfortable saying that. We're working on a venue. When we have our own venue, the ability to have events is going to change dramatically because we're not renting spaces and setting up every time. It just is going to make life so much easier for us. So it'll open up opportunities for more fights more often, which is great because the local scene, man, I know you're at Stout all the time. You see how this fight team just keeps growing. And
in Matt Factory, everyone
Oh, yeah.
everyone's
It's
building a
overflowing
team.
now. Like we can't get everybody on our cards anymore, which we talked about on our podcast. But like having this new venue will allow us to be like, hey, you didn't get on this one, but 2 more weeks we're having another show. Get on that one instead. 2 more weeks
give
after
you
that.
give you
have
like
another
an
show.
opportunity to showcase
Exactly.
the work you've been putting in. That's cool, man.
And like in PA, if you want to go pro, the rule is typically you need to have 5 amateur fights and a winning record. That's a general rule of thumb. Right now, that's kind of tough because like we have a show once every, call it 3 months or so. There's a few other promotions. You could go to Ohio to get fights, Erie to get fights, Philly to get fights. But like for somebody who's just in Pittsburgh, if you want to fight 5 times in Pittsburgh, that's 2 years. Like it's going to take you 2 years. But with our new venue, if somebody wants to like fast track to pro, they might be able to get 5 fights in 5 months. Stay healthy. Stay healthy.
That could be good.
It could be good or
that
bad.
could be
Exactly.
bad.
Coaching. That's why
Yeah.
coaching matters.
You get this streak, make you feel like you're invincible. Then
then you learn when you go
then you
pro.
learn that, dude. That stage,
Different
it,
ball
it,
game.
It don't lie.
It's a
like
different ball
Warren
game.
said, man. Proof is in the pudding. You go in the mat. We'll see what you put in.
Yep.
And I like how Britt put it. She said, which she's fighting on December 16th. Shout out Sunshine. Pro debut. I'm so excited, dude. I've been waiting. When her last fight got
You're so
canceled,
hyped.
bro.
That hurt.
I could have triangled
The LFA fight. Were you going up to New York to see it? You were there.
I was planning to.
Nice.
And then it got canceled. I'm like, well, it saved me a trip, saved me some money, saved me this. But
that sucks.
She's just fighting on that. But the way she put it, it's like, did you put everything you could into this? And not say you did, because people will. And
Everybody says it.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, I did. I gave my all.
Yeah.
Did you? Because I saw you skipping training to go drink.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you skipping training to go hang out. I saw, like, are you putting your all or are you not?
Yep.
So it's like, I love MMA. I love jiu-jitsu because like, you really can't BS it.
Nope.
You can't. There's talented people who can get away for so long, but everyone eventually is going to meet that point where they have to, like, be true to themselves and, like, hey, this ain't for me.
So
I ain't cut
true.
out for it. I mean, I met that a long time ago. Like, long time ago. Like, this ain't something I want to be doing. Like, I hate my face touched.
Yeah.
And I'm willingly going into this ring and getting punched in the face. It's like one of those things. It's a stupid thing. I hate my face touched, dude. And I get pissed. And then it's just dumb. You know?
Yeah.
And I wasn't even training right. Like, I had no jiu-jitsu background.
Got to have a
Make
little.
that make sense.
Bit, yeah.
Make that make sense. But like I said, you can fake it for a while. I faked it for a little bit, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Now I know jiu-jitsu. Now I train a lot. And I was like, well, if I fought at 230, I'd get demolished.
So, like, when you ask me why I'm drawn to human interest stories and stuff like that, you kind of just said it. In MMA specifically, why is because it's such a unique sport and how it'll weed out so many different things. Man, when you're in the cage, it goes for boxers, competitive grappling as well. When it's truly one-on-one in a competitive combat scenario, dude, like, everything else goes out the window. Like, you find out what you're about real fast. And that's what makes those people, like, extremely interesting to me, because they know that going in. So the pressure, dude, the pressure that fighters deal with.
Dude, I can't even imagine. Like, you're not even like all the stuff you mentioned, but now you have a room full of people watching.
Yeah.
Just you two.
Just spotlights on you.
That's it.
Dude, I play, like we said, I play guitar like my whole life, and playing in bands doesn't, like, getting up in front of a crowd playing in a band, totally fine. I don't get super nervous. I get excited. I had to just recently, I played the national anthem at one of my friends' events on guitar. Played national anthem on guitar.
That's sweet.
I was so nervous, bro. Like, I don't know that I've ever been that nervous in my life to perform something, because it was just me. And, like, I don't fight. I'm not even going to act like it's the same, but I would imagine it's similar. Like, playing in a band versus now it's literally just you. Like, that difference is huge, and I felt it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're performing.
Yeah.
When you're fighting, you're performing.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you're trying to survive the performance, but you're performing.
Yeah.
You know, look at Lucas. Motherfucker does side aerials and cartwheels, like, but he maintains his focus.
What a
too.
talent, dude. He's crazy. He's crazy good.
He is fucking nuts. That dude. He's like, oh, I do this because I had
Just something to do.
I had he didn't have confidence growing up.
Yeah. Dude, his story's fantastic.
And I'm like,
yeah.
you got it now. You fucking built it
figured it
now.
out.
Yeah.
He figured it out.
That's
man.
one of those success stories, dude. And this is another crazy thing about fighters. This is the only thing that kid wants to do.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, this is it.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever on the side to get me here.
This is a good time for me to talk about it, I think, because people give us grief a little bit because of how hard we push Lucas Siebert. And I just want to emphasize, like, it's not favoritism. Like, we're talking about bias and everything like that. It's not favoritism. It's just that when you break it down, if you want to make an example of here's how you go from a debut amateur to a pro that's actually ready to be pro, just look at what he did. The reason we talk about him a lot, promote him a lot, is because he's doing the right things. Like, he is a good example for us to put out there. His pace of competition, when he's not fighting MMA, he's doing a grappling tournament, or he's trying to get on Stout Fight's Muay Thai card. Like, he's staying super active, rounding out his game. Literally wanted to fight in PA for his first couple fights, like his first 2 fights were with us. Wanted that because the rules are restrictive. He couldn't ground and pound to the head in Pennsylvania as early novice amateur. Him being a wrestler, what's the easiest path to victory for him would have been take somebody down, ground and pound, force the referee to step in. He didn't want that. He didn't want to be able to win easy. So he was like, force me to work on my stand-up. Like, I need to work on my stand-up, so this rule set's going to force me to be better on my feet. Dude, like everything he's done to a team, obviously excellent coaching and mentorship and everything he has in his life, and he's very receptive to those kind of things, which is huge. He's just a good example.
Yeah, and like, is it bias or like you guys have a show to promote?
Right.
Like, you're a promotion.
Yeah, right.
You want to promote exemplary. Speak two languages. Examples of that.
Yeah.
You know, Lucas being one of them. There's a lot of other fighters I'm sure you can say the same thing about.
Absolutely.
It's like, that's what we're here for. We're here to, give everyone a fighting chance, no pun intended.
Hey.
But we're also here to grow this promotion.
That's it.
Like, we don't want to remain stale. So we're going to push the things that grow us. And if you come on and grow us, you're getting pushed.
That's the name of the game, and I hope that's super obvious for people who have followed us for any amount of time, that we're saying, like, if you look at us a year ago, we're a very different organization now. Our shows are very different. I mean, our first grappling super fights was just this summer. Feels like we've been doing that for a long time. That was
dude,
a couple
in the
months
cage,
ago. Wow.
That's sweet.
It's sick, dude.
That's sweet. And I've heard people like, oh, it's not the same because of the, but like, I think that's cool. Like, from a spectator point, that's cool. That's cool to see. Like, I haven't seen that. It's also cool, the elevated mats and stuff like that, but because you get more of a visual.
It's exactly why I like it. Like, everybody's like, oh, it's different, and some people say it in a negative way, and I'm like, why would we try to be fight to win? They're doing fight to win as well as they can. We're not going to try to copy them. We're not going to out fight to win, but we can out 247 everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. Like, and if you try it and it fails, move something else. Like, we're always moving the needle. That's what you're supposed to. Dude. Sports reference. Always move the needle. Always move the ball.
Yep.
Like, that's the whole nature of building anything. It doesn't matter what career, what industry, like, constantly trying to progress. I think that's a cool way to progress the sport of grappling and jiu-jitsu and wrestling in general.
Absolutely. Super vital point that you made there, too, that I just want to expand on, because people need to hear it, and that's not being afraid to fail. Like, you can't. You hear that. It's like almost cliched how much you hear it in any profession, but, dude, it's just so true. Like, if you're worried about failing, that's when you're definitely going to fail. We fail a lot at 247, man. We mess up a lot of stuff. I know Sprawl in the Bird 2 is the easiest example. Like, you could take 3 things that happened that night that we were like, we need to learn from this. And we did.
What is one of them?
Which way should I go? All right, obviously. All right, we're talking about Lucas. We might as well keep talking about Lucas.
Lucas, okay.
Something happened after his fight, his match, that we can't have happen again, basically.
It was during,
after, before. Yeah, so we learned a lot about that. It was a security issue primarily, and that's that. But just being buttoned up in ways that you're not thinking of. Like, if all we did after that show was focus on what went well, we would miss so many opportunities to improve. And that's never what you want to do. Focus on the bad. I'm not acting like we're not excited about a good show. Of course we are. But what good does it really do you to pat yourself on the back? Like, take a day, take Sunday. Our shows are usually on Saturday. Like, take Sunday and feel good about yourself. Monday, be ready to improve and get back after it. Like, you have to.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's easy to focus on the wins.
Yeah.
It's exciting. You're on a high. Mm-hmm. Everyone's talking about it. Like, It's easy to focus on the wins.
Right.
But if you only focus on the wins, you're never really going to improve or move to the next step.
Yeah.
You're always going to remain wherever you're at. And if that's where you're comfortable at, sure, whatever. But like a security issue, small security issue in the limelight of things. Mm-hmm. But if that didn't happen, and then, a year down the road, your show's so big, something crazy happens and
we're
you're
not
never ready for it.
Yep.
That's bad. You know what I mean? So in the grand scheme of things, it's like, we learned. And the way you go about that is not focusing on, but pointing out, hey, we were weak here. We were weak here. We were weak here. How can we strengthen these areas?
For sure. I'm super glad that our team is really receptive. The whole 247 team is really receptive to that idea too. And like, just for me personally, like, I'm motivated by that stuff more than wins. Like, we talk about my high school, and like, I'm not shy about it. Like, I have great parents. I had a great life growing up, man. Had everything.
That's awesome.
I'm a 6'3" white guy that had a decent IQ. Like, life for me is not hard. I'm not going to act like it is.
But here's the thing. Everyone has a battle.
That's true.
Like,
That's very true.
To sit here and say you had an easy life.
Yeah.
Now you're lying.
Relatively speaking.
But we can compare my life. I kind of told you a little bit of my story.
Yeah, for sure.
I know people who've had it 1,000 times worse than me. I'm blessed. Like, I could sit here and be like, man, my life growing up wasn't the best. Like, you had everything handed to you.
Beautiful.
You had everything handed to you. I didn't.
Yeah.
My life sucks. That's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. I had a great life.
That's awesome.
I'm blessed.
I love that.
But everything is perspective. Like,
for sure.
Like, so to say, oh, you know, no, dude, you've had to jump through hurdles just like everyone has to do in life. Some hurdles are taller. Yeah. And some hurdles are taller. Some hurdles are shorter. Some things are easier for you. Some things are easier for me. I walk into a room, no one's going to fuck with me.
Yeah.
I mean, not to be cocky or anything, but like people tend to look at me and go,
I don't think.
yeah, I don't want to really, unless I'm at a bar and then everyone wants to fuck with me. I don't know why. They're like, pick the biggest dude. Yeah. It's like, dude, I'm just trying to get my White Claw, bro. Chill.
My high noon.
My high noon, bro.
As soon as you get a high noon, they're like, oh, yeah, he's game
I can
on
take that
now.
guy. Yeah, I could take that guy. And I got crushed against their skull.
Right.
No, but and like that's a good thing. Not a good thing you said that, but I want people to know, like, there's people who I've been reached out to, and they're like, man, these stories really inspire me. Like, I don't really have anything like this. And then I talk to them for 10 minutes, and I get a story where I'm like,
that's
dude,
impressive.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but you don't see that because you're so close to it.
That makes perfect sense, man.
You
I
know?
appreciate that
So-
too. But where I was going with that essentially was just that, like, the negative side of things always motivated me more because I get patted on the back a lot growing up.
But the good stuff, yeah.
Which is cool. But, like, whenever somebody complains is when I'm like, hold on, you didn't like that.
Did
That's
you guys
weird.
receive complaints? You already know what I want to say now.
A few. Go ahead.
About-
dude, go ahead. We'll
About
talk it.
the wrestling.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
No, that was cool.
No, so we've addressed it all, so I have no problem
Well, I
talking
know.
about
I've,
it. Yeah.
I've heard the one episode where you guys just blatantly
Throw-
were like, hey,
threw
we
it all
tried
out
something
there.
new. Like,
Yeah.
this is, and
And that's a perfect example of
that's
just failing something.
that's huge, bro.
Yeah.
That's huge to be able to go, we tried something new.
Wasn't awesome for our crowd there, but if we ever want to get into pro wrestling, I think we got something.
We got 2 starters there.
Dude sold a lot of tickets, had a huge crowd, had the place hype. Like, he did have, like, probably the most action-packed match in terms of, like, the crowd being crazy, except for the post-fight antics of another match that we just talked about. Those two being back-to-back was also not great. The energy was just
That was too crazy. The energy was too high,
spiked
man.
a little bit there.
Overall, I thought the show was good.
The show was sick.
I
man.
couldn't sit down, and that's why I didn't buy a seat. I bought like standing.
Nice.
I was like, "There's no way I could sit." Like,
Yeah.
when people are fighting, I get so like excited.
yeah,
dude. I'm
yeah.
like, I can't sit. One, I'm Puerto Rican. We can't sit anyway. Like, we like to move, we like to scream. And I'm like, so I'm just gonna sit and stand in the back, and that's what
awesome.
I did. It was good. It was a good show.
I'm glad you had a good time, man. It does mean a lot. You know, I heard a lot of positive feedback from that show too. And I don't mean to say stuff like that to be like, oh, I hate when people talk good. I love it too. I love that too.
dude,
It's
why-
just
yeah.
that when it comes to turning feedback into action, I'm going to act on negative feedback a lot more.
Yeah, because if it's the good stuff, hey, we'll lock that in.
Yeah.
We'll lock it in.
Keep doing that. Got it.
Hit the button.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you get started with 247?
So the digital marketing background, whenever COVID hit and like that shut down locker room access in sports. So I was still covering the Steelers and Pitt basketball at the time. The whole point for me that I enjoyed was that, like, getting to talk to players one-on-one, like have a real conversation like this. Like, it's cool to actually talk to somebody and hear who they actually are versus they're sitting at a podium with 4,000 cameras pointed at them and they're thinking about every word that they're about to say. You never get anything real out of a situation like that. So I loved and, cherished that opportunity to get a real story out of somebody.
Like that one-on-one interaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when COVID hit, everything turned to Zoom calls, and they were not ever one-on-one. It was always you and 30 other reporters with a chance to talk to Kenny Pickett, whatever. He wasn't even there at the time.
How does that work?
You just Steelers send a private Zoom link to you if you're credentialed and you have the password to get into the Zoom, and that's it.
Aren't everyone trying to like talk over each other? Or is it like structured? Or?
The host can like mute everybody, and then you raise your hand when you have a question, and then they can like enable your mic when you.
So is it more controlled, like in person?
It's super controlled. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So when that happened, I was like, the whole reason I like this is gone now. Now I'm just doing a job because I can do a job, but I could do lots of jobs. So I went into business for myself. Like, I started Homistek.com and started doing digital marketing for people. And like 2 of the clients, Hampton Beer Outlet, which got to be close to where you live,
they're
and
around.
Moon Golf Club. Like, I still work for them. I still do marketing and social media and stuff like that for them. And they were two right away in the very beginning that reached out to me because they both subscribed to the site that I was working for and knew that I was leaving the site. So they reached out to me, and dude, super gracious for them. Like, again, would not be here without them. Like, that was a scary transition, man. Like, it's kind of funny to look back now at the pandemic, but I left in like May. The world shut down in March. So like a month or two later, I was like, peace. And I didn't know where that was going to go, man. I just I literally bought a house in January before everything shut down. Before it shut down, no idea it was coming. Bought a house in January. COVID happens in March, and then I quit in May. So I was like, I don't know what my future is, man. I have no idea, but I'm going to figure it out. And dude, like those two, Hampton Bear Outlet Moon Golf Club, among others, but like they're the two that really stepped up big time for me. So
you started working for yourself essentially.
Yeah.
Dude, you know, COVID created, well, it destroyed a lot, but
yeah,
after COVID, a lot of like self
for
entrepreneurs
sure.
and small business, like that birthed a lot of that.
Absolutely.
People going, I'm done.
Yep.
Like having to count on others. I'm going to take accountability and do something for me.
It was huge for that. And I think just seeing in a very real sense, like this could all go away. It could all go away. It's like hard to think in those terms. Everybody like jokes about World War III in a way. But then if it happened, you would be like, I'm never joking about a world war again. Like that actually just happened.
Yeah.
So when I was doing the digital marketing stuff, Ryan from 247 reached out for me to help with their like social media and write articles because obviously I'd covered MMA at a really high level. Ryan knew about me already. I'd covered a 247 show before for him as a journalist, like as media. So he knew about me through then, and like we kept minor touch throughout. But then he hit me up and was like, hey, would you want to do like social media, write some stories, like interview our fighters? Like, hell yeah, dude. Like, I love that.
It's a win, yeah.
Yeah, so I got 2 shows in. It was Brawl in the Berg 8 and Flood City Fight Night. It was both August of 2021. They had 2 shows in August that year. And one was in Johnstown, one was right there, Monroeville. Perfect. Full circle.
Back to Monroeville.
There we go. And I did that. Excuse me. And the next month, Ryan was like, hey, how would you feel about being like general manager? So like, I want you to be more involved than just social media and writing and stuff. Like, keep doing that. That's cool. But like, I want you to be more involved. Like, I think we could do something.
Climb the ladder. Huh?
Like, yeah, let's go. So, dude, learning on the fly for that job. Talk about underqualified for a position. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
You want to run a
I
fight
still
promotion?
feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but at the time, that's 2 years ago now. Bro, I was so underprepared. Like the first show would have been, I guess, October Bippy 9. We just talked Cody Gamble versus Dan Albright, their first fight. Yeah. So that was my first event as GM. I don't even remember what I did that night. Like when I think back about that experience, I don't remember what I was doing. Like I know I didn't know what I was doing.
When you walked in, like let's talk about setting up.
Mm-hmm.
Are you there for setup, obviously?
Yeah.
How was that? Knowing like tomorrow, or I don't know how soon you guys set up, but tomorrow it's going to be a crowd of people. And what we've been planning is going to just be set in motion. Hopefully.
I mean, the good news is like Ryan and Jim, our matchmaker, had done it for a long time. So they were for sure holding my hand throughout the process.
That's cool.
And also like our setup team does not get nearly enough credit, dude. They're so good. Such a well-oiled machine. Like I could just text them. Here's where you need to be. Here's what time. I don't have to worry about them again after I tell them. They're there. They set up the cave.
That makes things a little easier.
That's any job. You got to have the right team, man. And we got the right team. They're the best, dude. Our setup team kills it. If I was actually in charge of setup,
we'd still be setting up.
I don't know if we would have had Brawl in the Berg 10.
So funny you mentioned that. When we talked about the Bayhawks. When I worked for the Bayhawks on your podcast 247. There'd be days where the Otters, the hockey team, would play, and then we had the next day. So I couldn't set up the day before, so we'd have to be there like 6 or 7 in the morning, and like the arena will take out the ice and everything, set the court up. But like I was in charge of switching all the banners and all the promotion items and making sure all the mascot stuff was there, the Dan team stuff was there, getting everything prepared, bro. When I tell you that was the most stressful job I've ever had in my life. Mind you, I'm still in college.
Yeah.
And like my first day, so the dude who I had his job, he quit. So like, and he was in charge of everything. So when I got on, I had to learn everything, bro. Mind you, I was also doing graphic design. I was also doing promotions and stuff. I'm like,
That's so
I just
much,
learned
dude.
graphic design
So
from my
much.
last class in college. Like now I got to put up scoreboard stuff.
I love it.
Dude, but I think that's the best way to learn.
For sure.
Just be immersed.
1,000,000% how you got to do it.
And
You
it's going
have
to be bad in the sense of like, there's going to be a lot of hiccups, a lot of things where you're like, for example, for those who don't know, my MacBook just stopped recording. So I'm hoping the backup, and I put this card in there last night as a joke to try it
It's a
today.
good joke. Great joke.
So I'm hoping it works.
I think you're good.
Or we're just talking to ourselves in a mic.
That's going to be way funnier. I don't know. The GoPro's got some kind of audio,
Yeah,
right?
that's audio. We'll figure it out, clean it up. But it's all a learning curve, right? So now I got to go home, figure this out, make sure, find a way that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But it's all small improvements. And like with you, just jumping into GM position and
It was crazy, man.
putting together an entire show, it's like,
Yeah.
damn, I did that.
Thinking I knew how it worked was super arrogant because just from covering events and things like that. There's actually a funny video. I forget if Cherico posted, Mark Cherico or Wilkins, one of the two posted it. But it was back when they were fighting. It was like 2013, maybe 12, 13 or so. And like I'm literally in the corner of the video. I was there as a reporter, like covering the show. It's like, dude, that's really funny that like I was there and like now I'm here, like doing the thing still. We're still doing the thing.
Different positions too,
Yeah.
because like now
Right.
Mike is coaching.
Right. right.
Like, he's not in the
Everything's
ring.
changed,
Yeah,
but it's the same people, but it's changed. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So it's like I thought because I was kind of close to the sport that like I knew how it operated, but not at all. Like now running 247 shows, I'm constantly thinking about things that I would have never known before. Never. And the only way was to be thrown into the fire, for sure. Like I said, like I respond to negative energy. Like I'll react to negative things to fix them, and I'll also react to time pressure. Like I procrastinate. Like whenever the heat's on, I get really good at whatever I'm doing though, but I need a little heat.
I'm the same way. Now that you mention
Yeah.
that, that's true. Like, I'll have to have a project due, or like something I have to do, and I'll find a million things to do, and I'm like, oh damn, I got to get this done, and then I'll produce some of my best work.
Exactly. I'm the same exact way, man. And that's bad. Like I'm not even proud of that necessarily. It's good, I guess. It could be worse if we procrastinate and then suck at suck at whatever it is at the end.
That's what you got for me. Hey, dude, I had 6 days.
It's the best I got.
Yeah, I had
the
6
best
days.
I got. But yeah, so that's like my personality, and Ryan is the complete opposite. Like he is a hyper planner. He plans months in advance. He's very organized. So like that tag team, I think, is what works extremely well for this. Very different the way we operate. So I'm super thankful that he did like hold my hand through everything and still does to some degree on some things. So it's like
hits the
I
hot
need
button
that.
on
Yeah. We need that. Like I need that sometimes. So that's good.
How you still do journalism stuff though too as well, or is
Not
this
really.
is this taking your like this is your bread and butter now?
247's like 85% of my work life, I would say. Like Hampton Beer Outlet and Moon being the other 15 divvied up.
Do you miss journalism?
I wouldn't say I miss it necessarily in the sense that like I have no desire to ever do it again. But whenever we talk about like those flow road trips and stuff, for
Reminiscing
sure,
and
of
stuff.
course, like really good memories that were crucial. Like I needed those lessons for sure. But journalism is such a weird way to make a living, man, especially now that like media's changed so much. We're talking about how TikTok is
Dude,
media now.
Yeah.
Like
Everyone's a reporter on TikTok.
exactly. And it's just so different. And that was like another realization I had when I was covering the Steelers and everything was like I looked at the top of the mountain, right? Like who's the best journalist in Pittsburgh? I don't even like who would you even pick nowadays? I don't know. Mark Madden, like he's one of the most known personalities.
Is he a
Media?
journalist?
No,
though,
he's
or
definitely
like,
not
yeah,
a journalist.
like
But when you look and if you're a kid and you're like, how high can I go?
media personnel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How high can I get? Mark Madden is probably as high as you can get. That's not good. Like that's not as high as I want to go. That's not what I want to do. Like what? Oh, in a best case scenario, I end up like Mark Madden. No. Like what? So I saw that end of the mountain and I was like, so even if I'm the best, this is what the best is in Pittsburgh. And I was like, what's this? Like why?
Doesn't define
The
your
ceiling
success.
wasn't there. Yeah, the ceiling in that field was not there, and I still think it's not there. So, like, that doesn't appeal to me at all. But, like, 247's ceiling, dude, I don't even know what our ceiling is. And that's crazy exciting.
You're gonna reach a ceiling, and then
Find a new one.
yeah, you're gonna start building a second story.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, in media, you can only go so far.
What advice would you have to someone saying, "Hey, I do want to get into media"?
Yeah.
Like, how did like would you go about it the way you did it, or are there some things that some people could avoid doing to get somewhere faster to where they want to be, or whatever success, in journalism means?
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, do it a lot. Do it a lot. It doesn't matter if it's a topic you don't care about at all. Do it. Go cover it. Go cover horse racing. Go cover whatever it is. Excuse me, we got the
damn
juice to
birds,
Jupiter,
man.
But that was like a good lesson that I learned at the newspaper, because I was covering all kinds of things that I knew nothing about, things that I knew a lot about, things that I cared about, and things that I didn't care about. And like getting that full spectrum will teach you how to round out your actual reporting skills. But reps, man, you lift all the time. Reps are
I was just gonna equate it to that.
Yeah.
Like these constant reps. It's like in jiu-jitsu. Like, I don't do leg locks. Do leg locks.
Yeah.
Train leg locks so you can learn defenses in leg locks. Like, that doesn't have to be your game, but venture out and do that, so then you become a well-rounded jiu-jitsu practitioner.
Yep.
That's cool that you mentioned that, like with journalism. Yeah, report on horse racing.
Reps, dude. We talk about like the podcast, having really good equipment, having it look good. Like we can set up these barriers to entry for ourselves. And I think human beings do that a lot. We want to convince ourselves that we can't do something because we don't have something. So we set up this little barrier because we're afraid to fail.
It's a safety net.
Exactly. Yeah. With journalism, you can do that too. I think I see a lot of reporters that I've had kids reach out to me in the past that like want to get into the field, and they're like, well, I haven't written anything yet because nobody's hired me to write anything yet. I'm like, what do you mean? You want to write, but you don't write? You have a keyboard, you have a computer, you can write.
No, that's true.
The barrier to entry is nothing. It doesn't matter if nobody's going to read it. It doesn't matter if you're not going to get paid for it. Go do it, dude. Like, get that rep.
You know what's crazy? So, what's big female author now? Colleen Hoover.
Nice.
It's a Colleen Hoover.
That
Colleen
is
Hoover.
one, I think, yeah.
So a lot of her books no one's ever heard of. Mm-hmm. And then she started writing books that everyone started reading. And then what do they resort to after they've read her new books? All her old
the back
books.
catalog.
Yeah. And it's like
awesome.
You like if you start writing now, write, and I forgot who told me this. Write as if or like with my podcast, like, dude, no one's gonna be listening, but one person may.
Yeah.
Do the podcast as if you're doing it for one person, as if you're doing it for a big room.
I love that.
It's the same way. When you're writing, there may be one person reading it, but write it as you're writing for everyone. Like you're writing for a room full of people, because one day you may have that, and they're going to read that.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like, that's so true.
Dude, I love that so much. And like in musicians speak, I always heard like every concert you have to play your balls out, right? And the reason why, it makes perfect sense. At every concert, there's somebody in the crowd, it's their first time ever seeing you. It might be the only time they ever get to see you. You're a big Metallica fan, whatever. Let's say you're a big Metallica fan. You go to see Metallica. They play 200 times a year, let's say. They play each of those shows like it's the only show of the year. And for a lot of people in the crowd, that's the only time they're ever going to see Metallica in their life. So if Metallica doesn't go out there and put on an absolute show for that one person, it's going to ruin their entire experience of Metallica. The other 199 shows might have been amazing, but that one could spoil it for somebody.
That is so true. Hit everything as if it's...
That's it.
Yeah. No, because think about it. Yeah. You get 10 people who've never seen Metallica. Everyone's hyping them up. They go to the show and they're like, dude, they were garbage.
Yeah. But that was their
everything
one
was
bad
half-assed.
Yeah.
But that was their bad show.
Doesn't matter.
First impressions are everything, man.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Dude, it's like people dates, right? You go half-ass a date. This is the first time meeting you. You could be an amazing guy. Every girl can have great things to say about you. Your friends, amazing things. Your mom loves you. Your grandmama loves you.
Yep.
You ruined it for this girl. What is she going to leave with?
Exactly.
That dude's a douche.
Exactly.
He was miserable.
Yeah.
And that's what she's going to tell everyone. And now you're a douche and miserable.
That's it. That's who you are to her.
That's a good way to put it, man. Like, put your best foot up.
Yeah. And I feel that way with our shows, man. That's why we go all out for every single show, and we try to raise the bar every time, because we obviously have fans that come to maybe not all, but most of our shows. But a lot of people are seeing our show for the first time.
18 was mine.
Yeah, there you go. People here at Brawlenberg 19, December 16th, it's going to be their first time. So
it's going to be my first time in Monroeville.
Boom. So
and everyone's like, you got to go to the Monroeville show.
If we don't blow it up for you, you're going to be like, what's all the hype with Monroeville? I don't get it.
Yeah, what's this about? I just had him on my podcast.
I know that guy.
No, so let's end it with the 19. What could we expect for Brawling the Berg 19?
Dude, this card. So it's easy to do like.
I just got the main card pulled up real quick.
How good is that? How good is that? It's easy to be like just promoters speak and like, oh, it's the best card we ever put together. But like objectively, dude, it might be the best card we ever put together. Just like as we have more shows and as Pittsburgh keeps growing, we have like so much data on fighters and things like that. So we can get smarter with our matchmaking and the cards that we put together. Like this is the smartest card we've ever put together. And like
I don't know some of these people, but I know some of these people.
Yes. Like the 2 pro fights, first of all, are just literally 2 of the biggest stars in Pittsburgh MMA. Justin Patton versus Jacob Olave and Britt Bickert versus Daniel Wynn. Like when you're in Monroeville, you're going to understand what I mean. The cheering sections that Britt and Justin are going to have are going to be like insane.
Dude, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So when I had you send me this, I didn't even know Justin was fighting.
Oh, nice.
Because I intentionally have not been. When I see your fight matchup pop up, I don't look at it.
Nice.
I'm like, I want to be surprised when I get there.
Oh, that's fun.
But then I was like, I kind of have to talk about it. You know, you sent me this, and I was like, oh,
banger, banger.
Oh, damn it! Maybe I have to go back and look at them all. So
yeah,
I'm excited. If you guys, I'm gonna be there. I got a table. Yeah. I got a table.
You got a premium table.
I got to be in the mix, you know.
I love it.
I just all I ask, I want the Relentless Project paper on my.
All right.
Okay.
I think we could do that actually. Dude, you should cover it as media. We should get you a media badge, and you can just go backstage and interview
I'll talk
people.
shit with the fighters all the time, dude. Yeah, let me know. Like,
let's go.
Hey, I'm here. I'm not a journalist, but I'm at the journal. How was your fight? No.
How was that? But yeah, dude, I don't want to go full promoter on it because then it sounds inauthentic. But I do just want to point out, like, the amount. So in PA amateur, we talk about like the novice rules where you can't ground and pound to the head. But then there's advanced amateur rules where you can ground and pound to the head. You don't wear shin guards. Rounds a little longer. This card has like 5 advanced amateur fights, I think, off the top of my head. I think it's 5 or 6 even. That is a lot, dude. Most cards have 2. Like 2 is like, oh, okay, and then the rest are novice amateur. This card is like all these fighters that are about to be pros are on this card.
So you're saying it's gonna be a party?
It's a party, dude. It's a full-on party. I'm stoked about it.
You heard it here. Get there December 16th. Where can they find tickets or information or?
There's this beautiful website called 247fighting.com, and those are the numbers, 247fighting.com. Tickets, pay-per-view, live stream, everything's on there. We just got Android and Fire TV app.
I saw that.
247 Live. Let's go.
I did see that. 247. I always thought it was 24/7.
Everybody does. I did for the longest
24/7, yeah, because we fight all day every day.
Yeah.
It's 247.
Dude, when I started working for Ryan, I was like a month in, and I distinctly remember being at the office with him. I was like, hey, dude, so kind of embarrassing to be asking this now, but like it's 247, not 24/7. And I'm like, what's it mean? And then
what does it mean?
So I'm gonna ruin it, dude. I'm not a
a
religious or biblical person, but it is a Bible reference. It's like 2 Timothy 4:7.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a cool verse. Like I think it's on the website and everything. But I'm not gonna butcher it.
That's all right. That's all right. No. I just like what was the background for? So
yeah.
Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you for jumping on this. Most definitely. I want to thank you for hooking me up with Big Rigs, and the food was incredible. So if you guys are in Monroeville, even if you're not in Monroeville, come down here. Like I'm not even a big. This is going to get me canceled. I'm not a big barbecue person. It's always ruined. Bro.
You're not a big barbecue person because you haven't had good barbecue.
And when we were talking earlier, you're like, yeah, dude, like not many places do it right, but this place
does.
Bro, it was so good. I want to like try everything on their menu.
You need to. Whenever I was first getting to know Ryan and we were like talking about what foods we like, and I said brisket was like one of my favorite foods, and he's like, I don't like brisket. He's like, brisket's not good. Meanwhile, he said like steak's his favorite food. I've eaten with like I know he loves meat and like tacos.
I'm a
like
carnivore guy
right.
myself.
And I was like, you like brisket, you just haven't had good brisket, guaranteed. And then brought him here, and he's like, all right, brisket's like the greatest thing ever.
Bro, if done right. And their mac and cheese. Their mac and cheese. Like I wanted to get the mic and just do the little the little, like what are they,
Yeah.
mukbangs or whatever. Dude, that might be my side biz right there.
That's
Just
the
come
move.
here and eat in front of a mic.
ASMR.
Yeah, dude, they make millions on YouTube, millions of views. I might have to do that.
Let's do it.
Look, that just got me views.
You just got so many subscribers from that. They're just gonna
No,
loop
but
that.
dude, come here, try it out. Go to. I just had a brain fart, dude. I'm fighting
It's
the
the
brisket,
beer.
dude.
It's the
It's
beer.
the brisket. It's the beef. It's the everything these people have. I walked in smelling it. I was like, dude. I was like, can I speak to? Who do I have to speak to? I had to go to my phone. I was like, damn, dude. It was like fire. So,
I know. I was like hyping. I'm like, you're gonna like this. He's like, I can tell from the way it smells. I'm gonna like
yeah,
this.
dude. Like, smell is huge, man. You come to some places, it smells the same everywhere. Like, you came here, you're like,
smoke.
bro, they make that. They're
Yeah.
making this as we're talking here. They're making it fresh. It
Yeah.
was fire.
This place
So
rules.
don't miss 247's fights on December 16th. I'll be there. Hunter will be there, and that is all. Thanks for jumping on.
Thanks, brother.
Later.
Means a lot, bro.
Bro.
White guy handshake.
You've been listening to the Relentless Project. Ish Lopez grew up in the heart of the inner city, but he managed to build multiple income streams, join the ranks of law enforcement, and dive into countless ventures, all thanks to the incredible relationships he forged along the way. And now his passion is to share those stories with you. Make sure to connect with us on social media. Find Ish on Twitter and Instagram at the Ish Lopez, and the show at Relentless PRJCT. We're on all the major streaming platforms, from Spotify to Apple Podcast and Google Podcast, and wherever you like to catch your favorite shows. See you next time on the Relentless Project.